Now, Donald Trump has arrived at court in New York for the third day of his civil fraud trial. Mr. Trump and his two adult sons, as well as the wider Trump organization, are accused of gaining financial advantage by giving misleading valuations of properties. Now, before going into court, he outlined how those valuations were never intended to be taken at face value.
We're not entitled to a jury, because if I had a jury, even though it's in New York, and I think I do fine with New York, but if I had a jury, we'd win this case very easily, but I don't have a jury. And you see what's happening. This is a railroading, and it's the beginning of communism in our country. This is the beginning of communism. So we're going back in, playing the game of doing everything right. But just so you remember, I borrow money, the statements were perfect. Not only perfect, the statements are much more conservative than my real net worth. My real net worth is much higher, not lower, much higher than the statements. So I put the statements in. They don't use the statements because it has a disclaimer clause. They do their own work. The clause tells them, do your own due diligence, do your own work. And that's where we are.
Well, live now to New York and our correspondent, Neda Tawfik. Neda, hello, good to talk to you again. So we were just listening to Donald Trump as he was making his way into court and just reflecting that it's very, very different to normal court cases that one would see. One wouldn't really expect Mr. Trump maybe to say quite so much on the steps of the court, but he's determined to have his time, isn't he, and address the media.
Absolutely. I mean, keep in mind that he is here in person because he understands that the stakes are incredibly high here. I mean, his entire real estate empire is at stake, his ability to ever do business in New York again. But he is certainly leveraging this for his campaign. I mean, being here speaking to the press day after day at every chance he gets, sending fundraising emails, taking to social media, he has attacked this entire process, the judge, the attorney general. He has claimed that his properties weren't overvalued, as a judge has already found that they were. He claims, as we heard there, that this is just how business was done. Now, what we've seen throughout the last few days, though, is that the judge has kind of kept business going in court. But yesterday, he did finally issue a gag order on President Trump after Trump posted an attack on his law clerk with her picture on social media. He called everybody into the courtroom and told Donald Trump that it was just completely unacceptable to have these personal attacks on his staff and that he wouldn't stand for it. And he said that he would issue sanctions if it continued. So a clear message there to Donald Trump that this won't be tolerated going forward. But he continues to make statements outside of court about the kind of unfairness that he sees in this entire process, clearly trying to rally his supporters.
Yeah, and Neda, if you wouldn't mind, just because there are so many court cases involving Donald Trump, would you mind just taking us through the details of this one in particular?
Yes, absolutely. So this is really kind of the start of many trials to come. As you mentioned, Donald Trump is facing four criminal trials. Those relate to trying to interfere with the results of the 2020 election, the mishandling of classified documents, and the January 6th attack on the Capitol. This one, though, is a civil fraud case in New York State. And this really stems from accusations that he basically reverse engineered his property values to fit a net worth that he wanted, to try to appear like a billionaire, to get on the Forbes billionaire list. And a judge has already found, ruling on the heart of this case, that Donald Trump did in fact commit fraud, that he overvalued his properties by millions of dollars. I mean, people will know Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue up from here in Manhattan. Donald Trump listed his triplex apartment there as 3 times its actual size and square footage. So the judge ruled that, coming from a real estate developer, that could only be considered fraud. And there's other instances that the New York State Attorney General provided. So the judge has sided with her. This trial now will really look at if Donald Trump needs to pay any penalties and if he will be banned from ever practicing or running a business in New York again.
OK, Neda, for the moment, thank you. I know you'll keep a watch on happenings in court. Thank you.